Hello, everyone, and welcome to SONIQLOOX Conversations. It's our video interview series where we talk with artists about their work, their process, and the lives they're living alongside their music. Today, we are joined by Atlanta-based production artist Prairies, who builds these atmospheric, guitar-driven, alt-pop songs with hip-hop pulses and the grit of like this post-hardcore. His music is made for nighttime drives through cities that feel both familiar and strange. As a producer, Prairies works with independent artists to shape full tracks and honor each collaborator's story through sound. His approach centers taste, trust, and deep conversation. Production isn't just about compression, it's about understanding who someone is and what they need their music to feel like. Prairies, welcome to SONIQLOOX.
Wow, Danny, thank you for that intro, man. That was so good. I've never heard anyone describe me that way. That was lovely.
Well, we strive to make all of the artists we talk to look great because you all are really great. So I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So I'm curious, just right off the bat, what does a studio session look like for you when nobody's watching?
So if this were just me and an artist being in the room together?
Sure. Just you and an artist, or just you working, formulating or brainstorming everything for it. What does it look like?
Yeah, understood. I mean, it's pretty case by case, to be perfectly honest. There's like a general structure that you want to follow when an artist is in the room with you. I think, especially for a first time artist, if they haven't been around me ever before, I think I always try to have a little yap sesh is always great for putting them at ease. Cause like, you know, for a lot of people, I'm just a random guy on the internet, and like, understandably so, you might be apprehensive about me. You don't know me. Like, especially I work with a lot of women, a lot of queer folks. So like, there is like that bit of, you know, preeminent distrust that I try my best to sort of smooth out of the way and, try to be very clear about my intentions from the get-go. And then once that's out of the way, I just try to like ask them questions about themselves, get to know them a little bit. And then if they're a return artist, we catch up. So there's honestly, yeah, there's always yapping involved, always talking, trying to communicate and understand each other. And hopefully we're friends at some point and we're just chatting like friends would. Mm-hmm. That's the ideal scenario. And that way, you know, you're comfortable to go into the music making side of things, which involves a lot of trust and a lot of vulnerability. And yeah, so then once we get into the actual music process, that's just based on what we're doing in that day. If we're doing more production stuff, I'll start throwing ideas at the wall, kind of looking back from the seat going like, do you like this? You know, that kind of thing. Just getting their input and feedback. Same thing with vocal recording, you know, get them up, do the lead, do the dubs, do the harmonies, all that kind of stuff. Typical studio stuff, but yeah, try to make it like a conversation the whole time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I know building trust, and I've learned, I'm sure it's not as deep as what you do, but I've learned through these video interview series that building trust needs to come quickly, I guess, when you're working with an artist. How can you tell then when an artist truly trusts you?
When they start sharing things with me, I think. Things about their personal life or their feelings, thoughts, questions, comments, concerns. The biggest red flag for me is when an artist says nothing. And they're just like, yeah, I like it. Not that it's like a red flag. Sometimes I trust them and I do believe them, but if they've shared nothing with me otherwise, I definitely think to myself like, oh, have I not been doing a great job of like trying to get them to open up or getting them to trust me or stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I can't really control a lot of I have to just make it as safe a space as possible. And then the rest of the work is on the artist. They have to be comfortable enough to let themselves trust me.
Yeah, they have to be vulnerable, right?
Exactly. Once they start doing that, and once they start broaching those conversations, I think it's a pretty easy back and forth, and we start to get very comfortable very fast. It does happen fast, but the artist has to allow that to happen, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the first time you ever produced a track for someone else, what
Yeah.
was that like? And what did you learn from that experience?
Oh gosh, dude. The first time I ever produced a track for someone else, so I started producing for myself only.
Hmm.
That was like the idea at the outset was to I wanted to be a recording artist. It was COVID. I got a bunch of unemployment money. I was like, let me buy a little studio setup and not have to pay other producers. And then very quickly fell in love with producing. So maybe like a year after that, 2021 ish, I think I started producing for it was a friend from high school, and that was just so clunky because I didn't know what I was doing. I had watched as many YouTube tutorials as I could. Was just kind of like feeling my way through it, but I mean, so fun. We had a blast, and at the end of the day, making music is just I like it because it's so immediate and it's like such a direct route to creativity and the act of creation and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, while clunky because of not having experienced a lot of that before, I think it was like a lovely experience. And he
Hmm.
and I are friends still to this day. And so I consider that a great success.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, and I've said it before, I think, and I really enjoy being in the room when the music happens, if you will.
Oh
Just
my gosh, yeah.
that energy is just like something you can't recreate elsewhere.
100%, man. It's the same, I come from an acting background too, and it's that same feeling of like a really good scene where two performers or three performers are really connected, you're making eye contact, you're very much in the moment, or like a really good improv scene. It all feels the same, and I think that's not to get all like kumbaya, but like that is the essence of any active creation. It's all kind of the same thing, and that energy manifests in different mediums, but we're all artists are tapping into that same vein, if you will.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you use any of your theatrical background when you're diving into your production work?
That's a great question. I think yes. Uh, Alluding to what I just said, it's really all the same thing.
Mhm.
And I found that there are certain notes that old acting teachers had given me in the past that seem to directly correlate and translate to music, letting the emotion take you, not trying to take the emotion, that kind of deal. If a singer is really tuned in, I try to like go that route with them. Find that can be very effective sometimes for the people that are receptive. But I think even broader than that, truly, my acting background, I think, allows me to be a really great producer simply by the fact that it makes me super personable. It has made me it set me down the path of emotional availability, and that's kind of the common thread for a lot of people who bring me onto their projects. Is I was like one of the first people they saw that felt safe and comforting, and so I think in that way, it's definitely allowed me to be a good producer. And then last thing I'll say is for the business side of production, the social media side, the part that everyone hates, I think having a performance background definitely makes me a bit more willing to participate in being visible and going like, look at me, please hire me, I'm cool and nice. I think there's maybe a longer path for folks who don't have that background already or who haven't been sort of conditioned to do that. Because I'm at the end of the day, man, I'm a performer and I enjoy on some level being visible. So posting about my music production felt very, while stressful and scary, very natural. So
Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that because I was just thinking about that actually last night about how I need to be more open on social media and more willing to put myself out there and not worry about
Yep.
what I'm gonna look like or whatnot.
I think you're not alone, man. I mean, I also think that. I think everyone does to some extent.
Mhm.
We're communal beings. We want to be welcomed and loved and accepted. And social media is this very daunting arena where, you could be loved. In the same turn, you could be shat on or, degraded and stuff. And that's scary. But I think what you're speaking to is definitely like a crux for a lot of artists. I talk with them every day. I spend half my time on TikTok and Instagram trying to encourage folks to try to reframe things for them so that they can get the benefit I did out of posting regularly. But man, it's tough. I don't blame people for being scared of it. It's hard environment, but if you can find a way to make it fun for yourself, I think there is a really lovely path that you can take, and it has been very rewarding for me. I am kind of biased now. No one can really tell me shit about not posting on TikTok because it literally changed my life.
There you go.
But in the same term, man, I get it. For what it's worth, man, you're lovely. I think you should. This is a cool little platform you've got here. So,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I will do that. I will.
mark this interview. Write it down.
The day it all changed.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a little bit deeper into the production side of things for yourself.
Yeah, man.
When you're listening to an artist demo, I'm assuming that maybe they send it to you for the first time so you can kind of hear their vibe that they're sending. What are you listening for?
In the demo itself, I think just feeling. Also, excuse, there's some work being done on my house right now. If there's any ambient drills or hammering, I apologize. But no, I think for the demo, I'm really just listening for passion and feeling. If an artist is sending me, so it's varied. It's if I'm getting a submission through my form or through my website, there's a little bit of like I'm assessing not just your like voice or your songwriting point of view and stuff like that. I'm also like assessing your passion, your social media presence, like just your ambition and passion to do this. I try to orient towards artists who really feel like they want to do this as their career or are at least deeply passionate about what they do and well practiced in their craft. I like to kind of meet artists sort of ideal is in the middle of their journey, right before, they want to go big and start making money off this. And right after they've spent a few years sort of with their instrument, practicing and honing and living life and writing about that. I can't do much for like a 15-year-old kid who's never written music before, who fills out the form. However lovely and passionate that is, I feel like I'm not the one to be of service to that person. So yeah, I'm really just, but when an artist sends me the demo and we've already established like we're going to work together, I'm really just looking for passion.
Mm-hmm.
And how am I feeling when I listen to you? And a lot of times, as long as something really moves me or like touches me in some way emotionally, that's a yes for me, man. I'll work on anything. It's super, super fun.
That's cool. I mean, did it take you a while to realize that that's your target, not audience, but like the people you want to work with that's right in that lane there?
Not immediately. I didn't know that immediately. I think that's just something I found over the course of doing this. I've been taking money for production services for, 4 or 5 years now, but I only went full time about a year ago after my TikTok went viral. So I think over this past year, I've gotten very gratefully to work on so much music and taken on so many different kinds of clients. I'm now just now starting to really understand how I can be, who I can be of best service to. And I'm sure that'll continue to like evolve and change over time, you know? Maybe down the line I have a bit more bandwidth or experience and knowledge to take on someone who's like just beginning and who is really talented, but maybe has no materials, and things like that. But yeah, I think it's just something I found along the way.
That's cool. I mean, it's good to know who you are and who you can help best. That's cool.
Absolutely, man. That's what I'm in the business of. Yeah.
Well, what's a production choice that you've made recently that you really can't stop thinking about?
Oh, dude, that's so easy. So you're catching me in the middle of two sort of back-to-back EPs. So the last 12 days, I've been locked in with an artist, and she and I are doing this. She's making like singer-song, so think like Billie Eilish, but like lots of alternative rock sections. Like if Billie Eilish fronted Paramore or something like that is kind of the goal and the vibe of the EP. And I love rocking out. I love that stuff. Grew up on, all those bands, but honestly, man, the stuff that I'm most excited about in that EP are the sort of like electronic and digital sections. In my own personal music, I love fusing the sort of like acoustic and electronic worlds. And there's a couple moments on the EP where I started to use some vocoder and started to really experiment with, because the artist, she's got this lovely soft delivery. And so there are certain moments on the EP where as she ramps up into a sort of more powerful delivery, I start to underscore that with a little bit of vocoder, and man, it hits. It really is like something I'm so stoked on. The plugin is Humanoid by Baby Audio, if anyone is curious. It's such a cool plugin, and I downloaded it for this EP and been stoked with the results.
So that's cool. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you mentioned your own music, so I'm
Yeah.
curious about that. If someone's never heard your Prairies song before, what should they start with and why?
Oh, good God. I would say you should start with the song Chemistry. That's a single that I released a couple years ago. And I say that because I just released an album that I'm really proud of. It's kind of like my favorite thing I've made. But I would say start with that because it's the bridge song. It's the song that bridges the gap between my old stuff and when I started to really experiment with what I'm doing now, which is a really, really intense blend of electronic pop and acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. Like sad boy music, but make it digital. Yeah, I'd say Chemistry would be the place to start. And then my album 1110, which came out last November 2025. I love that record. It took me 6 years to make, front to back. And thank you. Appreciate that. Really love that album. So Chemistry and then 1110, and then you can go to the backlog. See baby version of me singing songs and
Young Prairies in action.
oh yeah.
Well, speaking about that in a way, what's making you curious right now then? Not as an artist, but as a producer, or a sound that you're trying to capture that keeps slipping away from you?
Oh, that's a great question, dude. A sound that keeps slipping away from me, something I'm curious about. Oh, you know what? This is gonna be maybe a little bit incriminating because I battle with imposter syndrome in the production world because I spent a lot of time in the acting world and just like trying to pursue that for a while. And I still relatively am in that world. But I came into production late, man. I wasn't in bands as a teenager. Like I never did any music lessons. I'm all self-taught. I did like some choir in high school, some musical theater, and that's it. And then around college, I started to get into music. So I still am having trouble like getting and dialing in like the cleanest, a nice clean electric guitar tone. There's certain like reference songs that artists will send me that I still am like, ah, fuck, dude, like I don't, I know this is fine, but it's not hitting in the way that I can tell there's a gap between, there's some gap in my knowledge that I think other people might have. So that's definitely something I'm curious about, still trying to work on is dialing in like the perfect guitar tone for different scenarios. Specifically electric is kind of like my fixation right now.
Right on. That makes me wonder then, as you're learning and you're growing in your producer role, have you ever been tempted to go back and fiddle with old songs that you've done to maybe put in the new tricks?
Dude, all the time, man. All the time. And sometimes I get to, because sometimes an artist will take a break, in between, life happens or they just need space from the song, whatever happens. Sometimes I do get to revisit and chip away and edit at things with all my new knowledge because I'm, very gratefully, I'm working on a lot of music. I'm growing and learning all the time. And so, yeah, like I'll listen to songs I made 2 months ago and I'm like, fuck, dude, I should have done this, that kind of thing. But man, that's a privilege.
Yeah.
That's how I try to look at it anyways. Otherwise I'd crash out. Cause yeah, definitely. I'm listening to old productions of mine and, kicking myself a little bit going, like if only I had known, but it's exactly that. Like I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a piece of work that I made with my knowledge at the time. And in that way, it's just like another stepping stone on my path. And that's a beautiful thing. I don't believe in like deleting, some artists will delete their back catalogs when they do like a rebrand or something like that. And to an extent, I understand, but I don't know. I think there is some value in keeping your old stuff up and showcasing your journey and like where you've come from. I know that I would have loved to see a bit more of that from my heroes when I was like coming up in the acting world or in the music world. Just being able to be an up and coming artist with dreams and being able to have tangible, like, oh, they did, maybe their first song was not as strong as their recent stuff too. And I don't have to be afraid of that or stifled by perfectionism in that way.
Absolutely. Well, who are some of your influences and heroes as you started your musical journey?
Oh man. I got really into, Rick Rubin, I think, is definitely, he's that for most people, but same for me. He's got that lovely blend of like music, great music taste, music skill, and then also his sort of philosophy, that sort of philosophical anthropology kind of bent to the way he thinks. Just those like human studies are interwoven in his process. And so I have benefited from those and have taken a lot from him in terms of the way I approach music and things. Other big production influences, probably Finneas, Billie Eilish's brother and producer. He's just a really talented younger guy. Like I think we're around the same age. So he's just a contemporary that I really look up to. And I enjoy the way he moves through the world. I think he leads with integrity most times and makes really killer music, man. His Billie Eilish, his work with a bunch of people, but his work with Billie Eilish really is stellar and very inspirational to me. And then to round it out, honestly, dude, there's so many incredible people, but I'd say that someone like Donald Glover is an inspiration to me, not just like production wise, because I know he touches production on a lot of his songs, But just as an artist and performer, he's a multi-hyphenate, and that's kind of what I've modeled myself after as well. I just want to create no matter what the medium is. So seeing the proof and evidence that that can be possible at a high level like he does, he's definitely very influential. And yeah, would love to meet that man one day and shake his hand because he's cool.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, what's something imperfect in your music that you've learned to love?
In my own personal music?
In everything musical related. Yeah.
Honestly, everything, man. That feels like maybe a cop-out answer, but I was so stifled by feeling like things needed to be perfect all the time early in my production career. And over the past few years, I've just really I don't even know how, but I very luckily have started to let that go. And I think it's because my ear has gotten better and I've started to listen to records I've always loved and I'm literally just hearing imperfection in all of those. And that's what I mean to my point about artists' back catalogs and having things that can affirm you as an up-and-coming artist. That was really affirming to me because I could hear examples of imperfection in music that I've always loved, music that's iconic, and just kind of go, well, if they're doing it, like, why am I like doing this guitar take for the 50th time? Like, I'm just affecting my mental health in a negative way. The take is not that different from the second take. Like, I could have probably just gone with the second take and been okay, probably. There are certain cases where you need some exacting stuff. I get it. But overall, I think my philosophy has just turned into like, you got to just embrace imperfection. And deeper than that, you have to embrace suffering and discomfort. All of it is a part of life, and all of it should be included in the music. And it shouldn't stop you from creating. Anything that stops me from creating, that's where I'm trying to draw my line. If it really gets me in a place, in a headspace that makes me want to stop, or I'm like not having fun anymore, that's where I start to kind of get a bit iffy and I'll check myself. But yeah, like every take has some imperfection probably, and I just kind of embrace it. If it's not completely off, to the point of like ruining the song and the integrity of it, I keep it in there, man. I'll keep mistakes in there. I'll take a quote unquote bad take and I'll like reverse it and verb it out, and all of a sudden it's this like cool new part of the song. Like, I'm always trying to like reduce, reuse, recycle all the mistakes and sounds that yeah, I do that with the artist's demo a lot as well. I try to, depending on the genre, it can fit or not, but if an artist sends me a cool demo and they're like, oh, but I hate this, blah, blah, I usually try to end up using it anyways. They just don't normally recognize it. It's spaced out or chopped up or reversed, or, I'm doing something textural with it. And yeah, I got to embrace imperfection. That's what makes things fun and cool, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Embrace the imperfections. I like that. Well, right on, Prairies. Now a little bit of housekeeping. If people want to follow along your journey, what's the best place for them to do that?
They can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, at your boy Prairies, URBOI Prairies. You can listen to my music on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen, under Prairies again. Still trying to get the Instagram handle Prairies, but someone who posted only in 2011 still has it. So I'm working on that. But yeah, you can find me at Your Boy Prairies and keep up with all the me yapping about posting on social media and following your dreams and stuff.
Well, right on. I am glad that you are following your dreams and making it happen, because it's very inspirational to us watching and us viewing it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.